Hello and welcome to the AFL Auto Blend 3D car creation channel. This is the next in the Blender 2.92 tutorial series of a 1905 Star Gordon Bennett race car. In this episode, what I'd like to model is the springs. It'll be part one of the springs. You can see the springs here on this reference image, and here I'll get a better image up so we can see what we're actually looking at. Perhaps this one. Okay, that's not a very good image. Where are we? Perhaps this one. Yeah, that's a bit better image, but it's not giving me the level of. There we go. That's a better one. Right. Okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 leaves. We've got a bracket here. We've got this piece here which attaches to the chassis rails, and we've got a center piece where there's a plate on the bottom here and a couple of brackets, and a bolt going all the way through to hold that. On this image there's a bracket that goes down and then around, and then some sort of connection here under the chassis rail, and that looks like it's a little way in from the curve of the chassis. So let's get into it. I think the width is probably, it's over an inch, I'd say near an inch and a half, so that would be, if we said 35 millimeters, and the length is, I've already looked at the length, it's about 1.15 meters, and the thickness of the springs I'm gonna just put at 0.05, so 5 millimeters for now, and we'll see how we get. I think that might be a little bit skinny, so I'll probably go up to 0.075, so that's 7.5 mil. I mean, this is just not getting not building a car to build, we're just making it look aesthetically pleasing. So let's get into it. So all we need, and I've already put in the cursor to the point, the length I want it to be. So if you look in side view, around about here. So if you're following along and want to model this, just place your cursor there. So you do that by pressing the shift key and the right mouse button. Okay, so all we need for this episode is the chassis. So in object mode, select the chassis, press the / to go to local view. Okay, so we're in local view now, and we want to add in a mesh cube. So shift A, mesh cube. Okay, press the N key to bring up dimensions. So we said 0.035. Let's rotate the view a little bit. So if I rotate the view a little bit so we can see. So the X value we're going to say is 35 mil, so that's 0.035. Okay, so that's that. The length, the Y length is 1.15 meters, and we said 0.075. 7.5 millimeters is, so 0.75 is 750 mil. 75 mil is 0.075, so it's 0.0075. So 0.0075. For some reason it didn't like that. 0.0075. There you go. So let's have a quick squint. That looks about right. Okay. So let's put this into position. So go into side view. So press 3 on the numpad. Bring this down and bring it across. And we want it, at this stage we want it roughly in line. I mean, I will curve the spring to make it fit that better. I'm going to put this down to 0.005. That looks better. Okay, so that we are. That's our that's our spring. I do intend to use an array to stack it, and obviously they'll get shorter and shorter as it goes down. And then once I've got all of them in another episode, I'll put a lattice modifier so we can get the curvature in. Okay. So for now, press tab to go into edit mode, and a spring is normally sort of flat on the top and bottom and slightly curved on the edges on the side. So to achieve that look, I'm going to put in an edge loop in the middle. So press Ctrl and R, stick an edge loop in, double click to get it there, and then I'm going to press Alt and S and scale it in the X. So Alt S, X. That's not working, is it? Right. So we don't need it all there. So we just choose, go into edge select mode, just click that one and click that one. And then press, we won't use Alt, so just S and X. And just scale it out just a little bit, just like that. Okay, so if we go in now and go into shade smooth, that's where we are. We won't do that at the moment. So go to shade flat. We'll add in a subdivision surface modifier, and you immediately get that sort of problem. So let's take away the display, and we need to put some loop cuts in just to anchor that position. So one here towards the end, so there, and turn it around and put another edge loop in here, bring it all the way to the end there. Where's it gone? Oh, there it is. So hold the shift key for minute movement and bring it. It's snapping at the moment, don't want it to snap. Let's have a look. So it's on increment. So GG and just bring it in. To about there. Let's see what effect we've got on that. Yeah, so we'll need another loop cut here and drag that towards the end, and one here and drag it towards the end there. Okay, so now there we go. So I'm going to up the levels of viewport to 2 and the render at 3. That's what I do standard. Okay, so if we go into object mode, that's our spring. with a slight radius on the outside. Excellent. Okay, so now all we need is the spring. So we've got that roughly in line with that. We've got it roughly in line with that. So we can now, in object mode, select that and press H to hide it. So now we've got this, and we want to achieve that. So let's see what we're going to do. So we're going to add an array modifier in, so minimize that, add an array modifier in. Okay, so we want 6 of them. So put the count up to 6, and we want a object offset. Okay, so we need to click the relative offset button here and type in 1 here, which should give us, it does, relative offset. Type 0 in there. That's it. That stacked it. That's better. So if we zoom in, we can see that that's what I'm looking for. Right. So what we do now is to apply the array. So apply array. And then we need to go into edit mode, select everything, press P, and separate by loose parts. That will give you each spring as an object. We can group them later, but so there we are. So if we choose, let's go up, let's scroll up. So we choose this one, we'll scale it in the Y, so SY, and bring it into there. Click this one and do the same, so SY, bring that in. Just by eye really, just bring it in. SY, we can move them around to how we want them later. SY, here, and this one, SY, here. So there we are. I need to be a bit more. So let's select all of them, see if we can do it to all of them. So that one, shift, that one, that one, that one. I've not tried this, so it might not work. So SY, it does work. Okay, so do them individually because they're not relative. So SY, bring that into about there. This one, SY, bring it into about there. This one, SY, bring it into there. That's getting better. This one, SY, bring that down to here. And then finally this one, SY, and bring this down to about there. So that's our springs. So now we'll go back and select them all. So press B and just range select over all of them. Then Control and J and join them. Okay, so we've now got our springs. Let's select them. See where they are. So type front springs in the outliner box. I've not done them in capitals. Front springs, and move them into the front axle components, so bring them into there. Okay, so we've got our axles, our springs. This will need to come down, so just move this down anyway, roughly. So there's the springs. Move that down slightly. Okay, so in the next episode I will be doing the lattice and pulling them all down and getting the curve. Then extending one of them and bringing it into here as it would have been in the original. So the longest one, just extend it round and put a slot into this piece on the end. Cut this piece off here as a separate object. And then we'll do the bracket. Do the bracket for the other end of the spring. Put the roll on the end of that spring. Okay, so it's still a bit of work to do. Then the brackets, so we want one here, two in the middle, whatever, and then there's a fixing plate underneath that, and that all sits on the axle. So this is one of a few parts, but I knew that that's what it was going to be. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm trying not to move too quickly on this, to give people a chance to catch up. And if I raced off, people you wouldn't be able to follow probably as well as now. So it's my style, and I like doing it this way, and that's what it is basically. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you in the next episode. Bye.